Do you know this? Do you know this? This is Caroline.
Coraline.
Coraline.
I mean, Coraline. It's a cult classic film from Tim Burton that has acquired some die-hard fans. Wait. It's a cult classic film from Henry Selick that has acquired some very die-hard fans. And if you haven't seen this movie, I am telling you now, do not watch it. Coraline has often been called one of the scariest kids movies ever. So, is this true? Well, as someone who has personally seen the movie, I can stand here confidently and tell you,
You know I love you.
I crapped my pants. In all seriousness though, Coraline is a very scary kids movie. And I know what you're thinking. Gunner, I'm not a little baby. I'm pretty sure I can handle a kids movie. Maybe it's just you. Maybe you're the baby. Well, you know what? Stop your whining. I'm not a baby. The reason I'm telling you not to watch the movie is not because it's scary. Okay? I mean, it is a very scary kids movie. But it's also a PG kids movie. It's not like you're gonna crap yourself. In my humble opinion, Coraline is probably one of the best movies I've ever seen. Everything from the characters, the adventure, the message, to just the vibrant colors and absolutely astounding stop motion animation. But you should not watch it unless you have read the book first. I had to take my copy back to the library, so just pretend like I'm holding the book. Why should you read the book first? We're gonna talk about that. So, if you're not ready to get serious and talk about books, I'm gonna need you to do me a favor and click off of this video. For those of you that are left, lock in. It's time for the book review. So, you want an in-depth review of the Coraline book, do you? Well, you have come to the wrong video. Don't get me wrong, we're still going to talk about the Coraline book. It's just not going to be super crazy in depth. I'm going to point out at least like 3 things that just kind of stood out to me about the book, and also I'm going to reveal my main reason for why I think you should read the book before you watch the movie. And at the end of the book, I will give And at the end of this video, I will give my final review for this wonderful book. And as you can see, there are no books on the review board yet, which means this is the first video. Woo! So, congratulations if you found it. You've caught the series at the right time. For y'all that are new to this channel, welcome. My name is Gunner Lane. I am a young, aspiring author, and I'm currently working on my first novel. So if you're interested in reading or writing or both, you're in the right place. On this channel, I'm trying to build a community of creative thinkers and artists, especially in the area of writing. But if you consider yourself an artist in any way, you are invited to this too. I know it might sound like I'm just doing a little content plug right now, which I am, but this is also something that I'm really passionate about, and I have been for a while. So if you're curious about some of my work, you can check out the videos on my YouTube channel, or I have a blogspot.com website. So I have a blogspot.com website. It's at gunnerlane.blogspot.com if you want to check it out. I don't have a lot of content on my website right now because I just put it up, but I am in the process of updating it, and I'm going to be frequently adding more thoughts or stories to it so you guys can read them. But if you're really interested in my writing and in supporting me as a young aspiring author, the best thing you can do right now is genuinely just to subscribe. That is the best thing you can do. All right, let's talk about Coraline. So I have 3 points here that I want to make about the book. Like I said, not super deep points, not any crazy spoilers. There's some little ones. Here they are if you want to take a good look at them. Let's talk about point number 1. I want to introduce this point with a little game that y'all are going to play. It's called Where's YB? Y'all know the game Where's Waldo, and probably y'all know YB from the Coraline movie. So it's basically Where's Waldo, but instead we're going to try to find YB. All right, so I'm going to put a picture on the screen, and I have hidden YB somewhere in that picture, and y'all are going to get 10 seconds to try to find him. So ready, go. Okay, so did you find him? No, you didn't. You didn't find him. I didn't put him in there. I lied. I didn't put YB in the picture. But the point I'm trying to make is YB also isn't in the book. I know. I was pretty shocked because he seems like a fundamental part of the movie, but I was reading through the book and I couldn't find him. So at the beginning of the movie is when Coraline meets YB. You know, it's very close to the beginning. So I open up the book, I'm reading it, and it's like, YB's not here yet. You know, maybe he'll show up later. Maybe he shows up towards the middle and they kind of just, change that up for the movie. I keep reading. Coraline's alone. I think it's better for YB to be there, and here's my reasons. In the movie, YB is kind of like Coraline's accomplice, companion, and he really adds to Coraline's character a lot of emotional depth. And we get to see a lot of, the person Coraline is by her interactions with YB and how their relationship grows. And it's actually really cool to see. In the book, him being absent, it changes that a lot. Coraline is more, I don't know if isolated is the right word, but she's more solitary, especially going through her travels in the other world. She's more alone. So I see why they added YB in the movie, but at the same time, I understand why he was never in the book in the first place. The story of Coraline is about the mundane, and it's about finding the joy and the happiness and the peace in the place where you're at. As we see, this is kind of a spoiler, so whatever, but we see at the beginning, Coraline, she's upset with the new place she lives. She's upset with her parents. She just wants to go somewhere awesome and fantastical. She goes to the other world and realizes, though it may be more fantastical, it's not better and it's scarier. And then when she comes back, she has this newfound gratitude for the place she's at. And she even sees her neighbors in a different way. She sees her yard in a different way. She sees her parents in a different way, in the true way. And that's why I think the story is really good. And that's why I can see YB being absent a good thing, and also YB being there a good thing. Because like I said, YB being there adds more emotional depth to Coraline. And it's nice to see their relationship develop over the movie. That kind of also shows, her change of mind. But also, like I said, Coraline is a book about the mundane. And it also kind of plays with the ideas of being alone in a foreign land, of solitude. So it kind of adds more to the dread and the horror of the situation, which is pretty good. So either way we see it, YB is the GOAT. And he's got a freaking cool bike too. All right, let's talk about point number 2. Now, this is something that really shocked me about the book. I'm talking really shocked me. Point number 2 is very simple sentences. So I know Coraline is a kid's book, and it was written with the intentionality of being a kid's book. I was listening to a podcast with Neil Gaiman on it, and he's talking about how he noticed that there wasn't a lot of kids horror, and he's like, so he decided to write some. So it is very much aimed for children, but I was not expecting the simplicity of the sentences. I mean, I think I was reading one night, and I was genuinely like, is there a compound sentence on this page? I mean, at least a compound sentence. I was like, does that sentence have 2 words? No, I'm just playing. It wasn't that crazy. But like the sentences were very, very simple and it genuinely shocked me. Now, was this a bad thing? Absolutely not. This was actually fantastic. Coraline is a very quick read, and the simple sentences move it along at just a nice rhythm. It makes it simple, which kind of almost gets you more into the childlike character and like the fairy tale esqueness of it, too. So, y'all know those little kids' books that are like, the boy saw a dog, the dog went to the log had a frog. I'm spitting bars. But you guys know how those little kids' books, they're super simple sentences, but they're so choppy. That's not how this book was. I mean, Gaiman did the simple sentence thing, like, great. It was beautiful, honestly. I feel like I'm nerding out about the simple sentences too much, but I really appreciated it. It was really cool to read. Maybe all kids' novels have sentences that simple. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm freaking out about this too much. Anyway, let's move on. Third point I want to make is no final garden scene. If y'all have seen the movie, which I genuinely hope you haven't, if you haven't read the book yet, I'm going to get to that in a second. But if y'all have seen the movie, you know that at the end, there's this garden scene where everybody's in the garden, all the neighbors, her parents. It's a really beautiful scene close to the end of the movie. It's really cool. It's a really powerful scene to start to wrap up the movie. But I noticed when I was reading the book, it wasn't there. There's not really a lot to say about that. It was just interesting. The book ending played out basically like the movie did, or I guess rather the movie ending played out basically like the book did because the book was first. But y'all know what I'm saying. So the book ending was basically like the movie's ending, but a little more fairy tale-esque to fit with the vibe, which was pretty great. Coraline is basically a fairy tale. It's basically a cautionary fairy tale. And so the ending kind of played out with more of that horror fairy tale, side of it than the movie did. They both kind of did, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. That scene was missing. I thought that scene was really powerful in the movie, but it didn't fit with the book. So also, it's not like it should have been there or it shouldn't have been there type of thing. It's like you got to see where it fits in both situations. Where it fits, it doesn't fit in both situations. So now I got to get to my main reason why I think you should read the book before you watch the movie. Before I start talking about that, I need to clear something up about this book review series. At the intro episode where I was talking about the first book I was going to read, I said I was going to read the Door Within trilogy. Now, are we talking about the Door Within trilogy right now? No, we are not. That's because I didn't read it. This is my bad, guys. But what happened is I started reading the first book and then I just wouldn't. So it was really sporadic reading. I would read it and then a long time would go by where I wasn't reading it. And then I tried to read it again, read a tiny bit. A long time would go by, I wasn't reading it. So it was really sporadic and I wasn't getting myself involved in the story. So it lost a lot of its appeal to me. Also, the book wasn't my cup of tea so far for what I was really wanting to read right now. That's why I didn't read it. I decided I'm just going to read Coraline instead, and I'll do the book review on that. So I apologize to my boy who recommended that to me, but I told y'all, the Had a Bias is going to do what it wants. I just got to keep it real. For the series. Also, while we're on this topic, I'm going to change up the rules a little bit. For this video, at the end, when I tell you guys to comment a book recommendation, try to comment a standalone book. Try not to comment a series, because if I'm going to be reading through these books and posting videos decently frequently, I can't be reading whole series to be able to do that. So try to give me a standalone book, and that would be awesome. So let's get to the final point. This is my reason for I think you should read the book before you watch the movie. And I don't just mean that in general, like read the book before the movie. I specifically mean it for the Coraline book. I read books before I go to bed, and I remember laying on my bed and genuinely thinking multiple times, dang, I really wish I would have read the book first before I watched the movie, because I'm not as engrossed in the book as I could be if I would have read the book first. And here is my reason. Coraline movie is a beautiful stop motion masterpiece. I love stop motion, and I think that movie is genuinely beautiful. Like, shout out to the studio and all the animators because they put in the work. Like, that is an amazing animation. But that was also the problem when it came to reading the book. It sounds kind of silly, and it might not be as big a deal as you think. But since I had watched the movie first and I was trying to read the book, I could only envision the characters as stop motion and as moving in stop motion. So I would sit there and read, and Coraline had blue hair and had her disproportionate body like she does in the movie. And it's just not like that in the book. And my point was, the book would have been a lot scarier if I didn't have all the stop motion stuff in my head. There's a couple scenes in the book where the beldam, I think that's how you say it, I don't know. Well, the other mother, she bleeds like black blood, like black oil, and just some like really freaky scenes that would have been way better to read if I wasn't imagining them all being animated the whole time. Listen, I watched the movie and I could only imagine them as stop motion after that. That's all I could imagine. So that's my main reason, is if you want to experience Coraline, I think the best way is to read the book first. You know, really get into that imagery of like the real life Coraline and the other mother like actually looking like a human, not like animation. It's freakier that way. But then you can still watch the movie and experience it a whole different way. And I think that was awesome. So that's my reason. I wish I would have read the book first so I could get engrossed in more of like the horror aspect and could come up with my own visuals for them rather than just having the stop motion stuff stuck in my head. So there you go. That's just a couple of my thoughts on the Coraline book, and that is a main reason I wanted to share with y'all why, if you haven't seen the movie yet, read the book first, then watch the movie. I think your experience will be so much better. Your experience is going to be good either way, let's be honest. They're both great. But y'all heard my points. I don't got to say them again. Before I give Coraline my final review and rating and enter it in as the first book on the book review board for the series, which is kind of an honor. Like, that's pretty awesome being the first book. We got to pick a next book that we're going to read for the series, and y'all have recommended me some in the comments. So let's go through those, read those, and I'm going to put those recommendations into the hat of bias. Maybe. If you've seen the first episode, you know how this works. And we're going to pick our book. So let's get it. We got the Fablehaven series by Brandon Mull. I looked at some of those. As far as what I look pretty cool. Looks like some pretty cool fantasy stuff. As far as it being a series, I doubt I'm gonna read it. I'm sorry. I know I just made that rule, but I gotta try to read some standalone books so I can keep this going. But that's dope. Maybe I'll read some of those sometime. Ashtown Burial series by Indy Wilson. Said good luck, bro. Thank you for that. Good luck. Another guy said Lee Pike Ridge, Indy Wilson, also very good. Sweet. Got some Indy Wilson fans. I don't know who he is. I'm not gonna lie. I looked it up. Looks like, it might be some cool stuff. If you haven't read Flowers for Algernon, I think that's how you say that. I don't know. If you haven't read Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes, you need to. It's a must. I looked at this book a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't read it, but it looks pretty dope. It's got a good chance of getting in the hat of bias. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of want to read that. The Dream Giver, Bruce Wilkinson. I think you read this. Read it again. Yeah, this is my mom. Redeeming Love, Francine Rivers, Love You Forever. She said that's a real tearjerker. I think that's a little kid's book. That's a little kid's book. We used to read that together. That's sweet. The Beta Satan, John Bevere. Envy, The Enemy Within by Bob Sorge. I don't know how to say that. The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson is a fire book. It's a super short, super simple parable about following your dreams. You should definitely read it if you haven't read it. It's awesome. Redeeming Love. I haven't read it. I've heard it's good. Sweet. The Bible would probably be a good place to start. You need it. Dang. I know this guy. That's pretty funny. He said, JK, but in all seriousness, the Space Trilogy by C.S. Lewis. Never finished the first book, but it was very interesting, and maybe I should give it a try again now that I'm older. Awesome. This guy said, I don't know, like that one book that's made with paper and stuff. Shoot. I've been reading plastic books. Can we get your own book in this review? If not, can we get the My Little Pony books? Thanks. Keep up the good content. Thank you. Oh, and one more book if the first two don't work. Could we get on some Lord of the Rings? Hey, but, now that I changed the rules, that's probably not going to get in because we got to try to find some standalone books here. Last comment we got. Sorry, twin. I low-key don't know how to read. That's rough. I replied to this comment. Oh, dang, twin. Don't worry, though. I got you. Start with the Bob books because that is some good beginner material. If y'all don't know how to read, that is good stuff. I'm telling you, check that stuff out. I used to eat those things up. Okay. I just want to say thank y'all for all those comments. That was really awesome. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys are engaging with my stuff. So before I draw a book out of the hat of bias, you need to comment your book recommendations. So in the next video, I can read through those comments and we can choose another book to read. Let's get with it. It's time to pick the book. I got my eyes closed because I don't want y'all to think I'm cheating or anything. We got the hat of bias loaded up with all kinds of books. Let's see which one we get. I'm gonna mix them around. Hopefully y'all can see that. See all those books in there? We'll mix them around. All right. Okay, we got this one. Let's see what else we get. Yo! Flowers for Algernon, or however you say it. Dang, I was really hoping I could read this one. Alright, here we go. Here's my final rating of Coraline by Neil Gaiman. It's a simple yet scary fairy tale about finding beauty in what you have. That's a simple review. Alright, this method rating. So we got the first S, which is style. By that I mean like prose, story structure, stuff like that. It gets a 6 out of 10. The second S is story. I mean characters, setting, plot. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. Third S is spirit. I mean like the message of the book. I'm going to give that also an 8 out of 10. The element score. The element is just my gut feeling towards the book. I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10. So what I do now is I find the average of the first 3 S's and then I times that by the element score to get a total of 42. A 42 for Coraline. Thank you guys so much for watching this book review. I hope you guys found that interesting, and also I hope you maybe learned a tiny bit. If you want to watch another book review video, click right here. And also, YouTube thinks you're gonna like this video. As always, guys, stay in awe, stay awesome. You're awesome. I'll see you guys later.